everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're looking at a brand new version of the SYX today. This is the SYX 1.5. So they've made some revisions to the gun and updated some parts inside of it to make it a more robust platform with less issues. So if you've had paint breakage issues, or if you've seen problems with your ASA, hopefully these issues are fixed in the new 1.5 version. So let's pull out an older version. So this is a standard original SYX right here. We'll get this one out, and then we'll go over some of the features that were changed between the old one and the new one. Some pretty basic stuff was changed. So one issue that people had was inside the front cover, the battery would rattle around inside here, and people didn't like that. So inside here, you can see they've added just a strip of tape, like a foam tape on the inside right there. Puts a little bit more pressure on the battery, keeps it from wanting to jiggle around and move while it's inside there. Second thing they did with the front grip here is the screen brightness. The default setting on the screen brightness was a little low for sunny conditions, and so they bumped the brightness, the stock brightness setting up. I think it's like 70% brightness now. So you're able to see it better when it's really bright outside. You could do that on your other gun anyway if you really needed to. You could bump the brightness up and set it like that, but now it comes default set that way. And then for factory settings, the other one they changed was the dwell. I believe the stock dwell on these was about 8 milliseconds before. Now they're coming stock at 6 milliseconds, and that in conjunction with the new bolt guide, the front, really makes paint breakage a thing of the past, which is what we were seeing in the SYXs before, that they were breaking paint. So they've really addressed that paint breakage issue. So that's really what's done with the front and the board settings. Let's get into the bolt real quick. We'll pop this up and out and show you the differences on the bolt. I just got a brand new tablecloth here. So what I'm going to do, in the essence of keeping things clean, is we'll put that down right here. All right, so from here, the two bolts, they look the same still. They've got the same spring setup, the same actual bolt setup on there, same O-rings on the back side right here. But when we slide this off, slide the spring and the actual bolt off the front, we'll see that you might not be able to see it in the camera. These O-rings, these front 4 O-rings, the bumper that's back here, and then the front 3 have actually been changed to a 1370 urethane O-ring instead of the standard Buno, which I believe these ones were right here. So 1370 urethanes on the front, as well as the front has been redesigned. You can see that this new one has laser engraved, they look like crosses on the front of them, and then the old one does not. That signifies that this is a new style bolt guide right here, and this is the old one. And this creates a better seal along the front right here for the bolt to travel along, therefore being more effective on shuttling the paint out of the end of the gun and not being so harsh on it, and really creating a better shot so that fragile paint can be used. Now, a lot of guys are also running that dwell setting even a little bit lower to 5 milliseconds for really, really fragile paint, but it can cause some velocity inconsistencies at that low of a dwell setting. So just try it out and see what works best for you. So for the bolt, that's the differences right there. A new bolt guide, new O-rings on the front to make for just an overall better performing gun, which is, what we're trying to get at. All right, so let's put that back in there. And then the major other changes are going to be in the reg assembly down here. People that were having pin problems or reg leakage problems, let's address those real quick. So we're gonna pull the bottom of the reg off, actually the whole reg assembly, really, so that we can get inside of it. It's not hard to do, just the bottom screws. We'll allow the reg to just slide right off. We don't really need to get inside there. The piston and the spring that are inside there weren't changed, so we don't need to pull those out. We'll just leave them in there. All right, so right off the bat, you can see one major difference, if I flip this over, is the length of the on-off right there. So what was happening is, because this was so long that it was catching on people's hands, catching on clothing, things like that, and it would disengage while people were playing. You'd catch it and it would spin, and then your gun would stop shooting. Obviously, there's no more air in it. So they've shortened up the pin and reshaped it, or the arm, so that it's less likely to disengage just by play. I'm going to pop these out right here just to get them out of the way. Now, a lot of people were having issues with the reg leaking down the bottom and out the side. So this O-ring that's around here was switched out as well. So this was, I believe, a 1.5 by 11. Yes, a 1.5 millimeter by an 11 millimeter O-ring on here. It's now a 2 millimeter by 11.5 millimeter. So they've beefed up the O-ring a little bit to make a better seal, so it has less issues with air being able to get past it and leak down the bottom down here. And then the last two things are going to be the actual inside of the lever and the pin. So let's get this little retainer out right here. I'm just going to pull the pin out. That will allow the lever to come out through the side. Now before, this whole piece, the cam, which is this part back here, was aluminum. What was happening is the pin pushing against the aluminum was causing gouges in the aluminum back here and causing issues with the pin and the cam rotating. So the new pin right here is now stainless steel, or the cam I should say. The cam is stainless steel, so when it's riding against the pin, it's not going to have any problems anymore. Let's see if I can get the pin out. I'm going to pull the pin out of here. They said they changed the pin around too. Let me see if I can see any differences in that. It looks like the length maybe is a little bit longer now, but just looking at it from the side and from all angles, it doesn't seem too different. I would say the major difference really had to do with the cam on the back of that, because all the the grooving actually is slightly different. So they've changed the spacing on the slotting back here, which is where your bleed is going to come out. So that's just a little bit different change just to the pin. You really won't see any difference with that. But the major difference is going to be with the cam on the backside right here. Less problems with gouging on the cam, which is going to give you reliable on-off operation over and over and over and over again after those thousands of cycles that you're going to put through it right there. So that's the new 1.5. Couple changes up in the front with the screen brightness, the tape on the inside the battery door, dwell settings, bolt guide O-rings, cam lever, O-rings, and cam or ASA pin. All those things together should make for a better shooting platform on the 1.5. So if you're interested in the new SYX, we'll do shooting videos with the 1.5. You'll see them outside coming up shortly on YouTube. But all those things add to a better performing gun. Get your SYX 1.5 at ansgear.com.